Welcome to the Aging Boomers. I'm your host, Frank Sampson. Of course, on our show, we discuss so many of the issues facing the baby boomers, their parents, and what, of course, is an aging population. And I just want to thank everybody for all their support, great comments, great suggestions, and thank you for those that have either downloaded our app, our free app, which you can get on your iPhone or Android phone. Just type in the Aging Boomers and keep up to date on all of our shows and great guests. Some of you, of course, just go on to iTunes, have registered, or on iHeartRadio and registered. So, again, thank you for your support. I want to remind everybody that today's show is sponsored by Senior Care Authority, a professional senior placement and elder care consulting organization that has a national network of advisors to help in determining the right path for senior living and receiving proper care. So whether it's in-home care, assisted living, residential, or memory care, get the necessary advice from a senior care advisor in your area by calling Senior Care Authority at 888-809-1231, or you could go directly to the website at www.seniorcareauthority.com. And also, if you just need an advocate, to help in navigating through what could be a pretty challenging healthcare system, so we're there to help you as well. So, and again, thanks. I also want to thank everybody for their support on my first book called The Aging Boomers. I plan on others, but you could get it on Amazon as well. So thank you again. We're very excited about our guest today. Great subject matter we're going to be talking about. We have with us Bruce Graf, who is going to expand our knowledge on the growth and popularity of aging in place. Bruce is a third-generation contractor and is certified by the National Association of the Remodeling Industry and is a National Association of Homebuilders certified aging in place specialist. Boy, Bruce, I didn't even know there was such a thing. That's great.
I know. I know a lot of people don't.
He and his team work on a variety of home remodeling projects. So, Bruce, I want to thank you for joining us on the Aging Boomers today.
Yes, sir. I'm excited to be here.
Great. So I heard a little story I wanted you to talk about. I heard, not that many years ago when you were 22, I guess you and your father were in business together, and you worked on a pretty famous home in your area. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I grew up working for my dad. I mean, listen, since I was 5 years old, I've been sweeping floors or pulling nails or just holding a flashlight for my dad or whatever. So I grew up in the business working for my dad in all those early years. And back when I was around 22, after college, and I was back home married, and we were doing showrooms in the Apparel Mart and the World Trade Center and the Trade Mart here in Dallas. A lot of creative stuff. And staying just really busy there. Well, we ran into an old friend of my dad's, a man named Terry Trippett. Terry Trippett happened to own the South Fork Ranch, and this was back when Dallas the TV show was booming.
Right.
We'd just gone through the Who Shot JR thing and all that, and Dallas was big. Well, Terry owned South Fork, and he talked to my dad, and he said, listen, I want to remodel South Fork completely, and I'd like for you guys to do it. And my dad said, absolutely. So Dad says, listen, I'm going to run the Apparel Mart, World Trade Center jobs and all this. I'm going to let you handle South Fork. So I was 22. I had one time I had 30 guys working for me, and we were there for several months. We gutted the entire house on the inside, remodeled it completely. And we couldn't touch the outside because the outside was on TV, but you never actually saw the inside of the house. But it was a fantastic introduction to what I do today, and that is high-end residential remodeling. We worked with he had hired like one of the best architectural design firms in Dallas, And I just loved it. I just had so much fun working on that project.
My wife never missed an episode. So
yeah, nobody did. Nobody did. I mean, listen, we went to England, and I was like a celebrity over there just because I lived in Dallas.
Wow.
Yeah, it was terrific.
That's great. So I want to talk to you a little bit, Bruce, about the term aging in place. I mean, I kind of think it should be changed, to aging.
I agree with you. You're exactly right.
Yeah, I mean, aging in the, aging in place safely or aging in the safest place. But anyway, it's a term that's used in the industry, which I think to some mean I want to live at home the rest of my life. And we all know that, you ask 100 people, I would think 99 or 100 are all going to say, sure, they want to live at home the rest of their life. But sometimes people have challenges physically, cognitively, that maybe it's not the right place to be for them. But we want to all do whatever we can to keep people at home the longest. So, talk to us a little bit about that term. Certainly, I'm sure it has a wider reach from your standpoint. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's a bit of a misnomer, really. I wish they had come up with a better term. That aging in place isn't. People think it automatically this is about old people, and it's not. It is not about old people. It is about aging where you are now, and that's whether you're 2 years old, 72 years old, or whatever. So if you're going to stay in the house, and it's one thing if we're going to stay here for a couple of years. That's a whole different deal. But if you're saying we're going to raise our kids here, we're going to stay here, or you're older and say, you know what, we've gone through 3 houses, this is the one we're staying with from now on, whatever it is, you are aging in place if you are staying there for a while. And so what I like to tell people is, look, through that, if you decide we're going to do some type of remodeling, let's make every dollar count that you're getting ready to spend. Let's go ahead and do the things to the house that will enable anybody to live there, and that way, if let's say that your 12-year-old falls out of the tree and breaks his leg or something like that, and he's in crutches for a while, that house, you're already set up for something like that. It won't be difficult for him to get around or to do whatever he needs to. Or if somebody finds themselves something else happens, somebody has a stroke and they're maybe on a walker or a wheelchair, we're set up for that too. But the key here is that what we do is we don't want it to look like that. We don't want it to look like a hospital came in and redesigned your house. So what we do is I work with designers that are also CAPS certified, and we think together. We design these living spaces so that when people walk in, they think, "Wow, this is fantastic." But what they don't realize is that it's actually set up so that anybody could use it. If you know what I mean.
Absolutely. I mean, I would think that if it's done right, that it also would be increasing the value of a home.
Yeah, absolutely. I may be jumping ahead, but there was I had a client one time, older client, and he was developing I forgot exactly what it was, but there was an issue, a bone issue, density issue, and he's slowly getting to the point where he was in a walker, then it was going to end up in a wheelchair, and he was worried about that. They looked at, should we spend this kind of money? Their remodel, we remodeled basically the whole house, getting it ready for him. And they worried about that. Should we spend this kind of money? And then once I reached that point where later on I end up having to leave or I pass away or whatever, then my loved ones are dealt with this house that looks like this. And I had this conversation with him. No, you don't understand what we do. We will do this in such a way that people can't tell it was done for you. It's going to look awesome when we're done. And the great thing about it is when the day comes and it's necessary for somebody to sell this house, it is now marketable to a far greater number of people than any of your neighbors, because it'll be set up where if a young couple comes in when a young couple goes out and they look for a house and they think, well, listen, honey, your mom and dad are always coming to visit us, and your mom doesn't get around very often. We're going to have to. This house isn't going to work for them or whatever. Well, if we remodeled your house now with that in mind, anybody can walk in and say, this is perfect. Not only can we live here, but your parents or your grandparents can come visit and stay with no problems.
So give us some examples, of the types of things that you do, whether it be in the bathroom, whether it be in the living area, bedrooms. Give us some examples of the type of remodeling that you would do to kind of prepare for that, what we call aging in place.
Well, there's a number of things that we start. Those of us that are educated in this area, we start to look for automatically as we're walking up to the house. Number one is, do we have an issue where we walk to the house and have to step up onto the front porch? That's one thing that we would say. Let's see if we can't eliminate that step up, where we take the walk path all the way out to the sidewalk if we need to. Sometimes we don't have to, but we can take it out to that, and then now we pick it back up and elevate it, and then do landscaping around it so you don't see it. But they just walk straight up to the porch without stepping up. Same thing on the inside. A lot of houses back in the early '80s were built, late '70s, early '80s, were built with sunken living rooms, which seemed like a neat idea at the time, but you have kids that go running crazy through there and don't pay any attention, and they step off the edge. Or you have a big party of a lot of people in there, and people are walking around with a drink in their hand and they're not paying attention. They slip off the edge of that. Or you get older and you don't need to have to navigate that. So what we're starting to do now is we're starting to fill those back in and raise that floor up level with the rest of the house. So we don't have those issues. We will go around in all of your main living areas, especially we focus on the master suite especially, and sometimes down through the hallway as well. Depends on the person's budget. But we will widen those doorways. All of our bathrooms were built, for whatever reason, they were built with what we call a 2-0 door, which is a 2-foot wide door. And I don't know where are you located?
We're in the West Coast in Northern California.
Yeah, I assume you guys have the same situation up there. I don't know, but in this area, the Midwest or whatever in the South, we have these 2-foot wide bathroom doors.
Right.
And it was never a good idea. And when you're a kid, small person, you can walk through there. But if you get wider, or if you're on crutches, you have to turn sideways to get through those doors. And then once you get in there, usually the closet is in there as well, and they have the same size door. So we'll go through and we will widen those. If we're going to remodel that area, it's just automatic. We will widen those doors. If we can, we'll widen them to 32 inches, 30 minimum. 30 is the smallest we will go, but we'd like it 32 inches at least, and that will get a wheelchair through it and make things more comfortable. Same thing, we'll make sure once you can get into the bathroom, you can get into the closet. So we widen doorways, and we do that in the guest bath or the hall bath, the one that most people use. Another area that we do is, and a lot of people aren't aware of this, is lighting. Lighting is a huge thing. And I will talk to people, even older people, when I'm remodeling their house and say, we've got to get a lot more light in here. In their kitchen, we'll do it in the kitchen, or we'll get it down the hallway, or we'll do it in the bathroom or wherever. And they'll say, oh, no, we've got plenty of light. And I'll look up, and there will be one light fixture in the center. And I'll say, no, trust me, you don't have plenty of light. You think you do because you've lived with this for so long. But I want you to think, I don't know about you, but this is what I noticed when I turned, I'm not going to give my exact age, but I will tell you that when I turned 50 or 49-ish, I noticed that every time I had something in my hand I needed to read, I was walking around looking for a can light or something, some type of a downlight that I could stand under so I could see it better. And I was trying to figure out what is happening here, and I talked to my eye doctor, and he said, well, it's just a simple part of aging. Is as you're aging, your eyes start to dim, and a lot of people aren't aware of that. So it is far better for us. We throw lots more lighting in there. We do task lighting. We have general lighting, which are can lights. We'll do task lighting, which are under cabinet lighting over your counter in your bath, in your kitchen. We'll do pendant lights and neat lighting like that over your island and peninsulas and things like this. Now, all of this looks wonderful, but it actually serves a purpose. It enables you to see. And I tell people, let's do more light than you think you need. And if for some reason you still think it's more than you need at this point, we put dimmers on them. You can always dim those lights, but you can't add light later on, or it's more difficult. So it's always better to go ahead and put in tons of lighting now. Sometimes we'll do neat things like we'll put LED lighting. LEDs have helped us out a whole lot. We can do so many creative things with LED lighting. And I know you guys on the West Coast do a lot of that type of stuff as well.
It's kind of like required, out
yeah,
here.
Yeah, sure it is.
Well,
it is, and for reasons for environmental reasons, but also it's just a neat product because we can get creative with it. Well, we throw a lot of it. Sometimes we'll throw it under the toe kick of your kitchen or your bathroom, and sometimes we'll connect that to a motion sensor. So when you walk into the room, that toe kick lights up. And it looks like such a neat technological feature, and yet it enables you to your eye. You see there's a delineation there. You definitely see the bottom where the bottom of the cabinet stops and the floor is, and things like this help with people with macular degeneration. Mm-hmm. So we do, and along those lines is we will change flooring. So when you're walking from one room to the next, we will try to change to a different type of a flooring. Again, with macular degeneration, it's more difficult for some people, and it makes it easier if they can feel or hear a difference when they walk from one room to the next. And a lot of this doesn't deal with. A lot of other people don't. Younger people don't need to worry about that. But again, we're trying to make it ready for later on, or for somebody else that comes to visit.
Yeah. So tell me about sorry to interrupt, but I want to make sure you spend time on an area that I know falls occur the most. Okay, and that's in the bathroom. So talk to us about that and the types of things that you've done to help reduce the chances of falls. In
the bathrooms?
Yeah.
We've got what we do now. What my company we do almost exclusively now are curbless showers.
Right.
And so we will do. A lot of people will say, I don't take baths. We don't need this bathtub or whatever, which is great, and I applaud that. I tell people, a lot of people are afraid to get rid of their bathtubs in their master bathroom because they are under the impression that you have to have it in the master bathroom in order to sell your house, which is baloney. Because what you need is a bathtub somewhere in the house. If somebody needs to sit and soak, they will have that option. But it does not have to be in the master. And I tell people, you make this bathroom your sanctuary. You make it what you want it to be. And if you don't take baths, then it does not have to be there. Let's take that space and let's create a large shower, a large, wonderful shower. And what we do a lot of times is we do these curbless showers where you just simply walk in. And or you roll in. If you have a need there, and you're on crutches, you're on walker, wheelchair, you just simply roll in. We'll do a wide door. Sometimes we don't do a door at all. We'll just have one big. If we create a large enough shower, we can do one big sheet of clear glass, and you just simply walk in and walk down to the end where the shower head is, and where there's not an issue. There's no need for a door. But these are features that are great for aging in place issues, and yet it is such a spa-like atmosphere. It makes the bathroom so much wonderful, regardless of whether you have issues or not. And so, what we do also, when we remodel a bathroom, we will automatically put blocking in all the walls surrounding that, up around the 3-foot, 4-foot area, all around the shower, all around the toilet, in different long walkways, walls in the bathroom. And so that enables us to later on, if the person needs to, we can put grab bars on there. We've already put the blocking in the wall; it's ready to go. Which, by the way, grab bars have come a long way. There are great companies out there. Kohler, for one, a lot of these are building nice towel bars, really nice towel bars that also happen to be grab bars. They'll hold the 300-pound person leaning on it whatsoever. And so they cost more money, but go ahead and put them in now. Spend the money, put them in now. You won't have to do it ever again. You're ready to go. So we do a lot of that. Again, the lighting in the bathroom. It basically all the same things that we would do in the kitchen, but the big thing is the curbless showers. We raise our cabinets sometimes. It makes it easier for people who can't bend over very well. We will raise our bathroom vanities a little bit taller so you're not bending. And by the way, that works for everybody. I have I have shorter ladies that still love to use their husband's higher, taller side because it's just more comfortable than bending over every time you're brushing your teeth.
How do you deal maybe in the kitchen where they're using step stools to go up and reach things, which is can be dangerous? How do you deal with that?
Well, what we're doing, because I have a fantastic cabinet man, but there are lots of great cabinet companies out there now that are aware of all these issues, and this also comes down to your designer and your contractor team that you find. They need to be thinking that way because we basically are the ones that design the cabinets, and we're the ones who tell the cabinet company, here's what I want to see in these cabinets. And so what we will do is we do a lot of what we call pull-outs, which are essentially a drawer behind doors. So where the cabinets we grew up with, you had to open the door, the lower doors, and then you had to get down on your hands and knees to reach way back there in the back to get something out. So now, instead of that, we do pull-outs. We open the doors, and you just simply pull the drawer out, and our drawer guides come all the way out completely, so you have full access to 100% of that drawer. And so we started putting a lot more of those down there. And we make it so that a person, let's say that you're a person in a wheelchair, we've got our dishwasher over here to the side, and when they open the dishwasher, they need to be able to put their dishes away. Well, now we're starting to build those racks, your dish racks or whatever, place racks for your plates and cups, whatever, in the lower cabinets so they can get to them. And they can just simply reach down there and pull the drawer out, put everything in it, and then shove the drawer back in. And so we're doing a lot of things like that. The cabinet manufacturers, the appliance manufacturers are now starting to do a lot of several lines of appliances now that are made specifically to go under the counter down below, which a lot of people don't think you can put a full-size oven down under the counter. I've got one at my house, in fact. But we do our microwaves down there at that level, obviously the dishwasher, and there's refrigerators now that are under-counter refrigerators and freezers. So everything is starting to move lower if it's necessary. We don't want you having to climb up there to the top, to the upper parts if you don't need to.
Right. Well, that's great information. Tell us a little bit about, share with us how people would get a hold of you, and I know you're in the Dallas area, so maybe you could explain kind of the area that you service, and because we have listeners from all over, maybe you could give them some resources or guidance on how they could maybe find a specialist like yourself in their areas. Yeah.
Well, again, like you said, my certification is CAPS, C-A-P-S, Certified Aging in Place Specialist, and I got that through the NAHB, National Association for Homebuilders. That is their certification, and we take that. There's a lot of training that goes into getting that. So if you decide you need to find a contractor or designer, and it's great if you find the team. If you find one, ask them if you find a contractor that's CAP certified, ask him if he has a designer that he works with that is also CAP certified. It's not 100% necessary, but it is a much better situation if you have both of them that are thinking the same way. So if you're trying to find a contractor, look for, you can do Google search for CAPS contractors in your state or in your city or whatever, or contact the NAHB, National Association for Home Builders, in your state or national, at the national level, and tell them you want a CAPS designer and or contractor in your area, and they will send you a list of people that have the certification. By the way, you've heard other designers also. We got universal design, and universal design is kind of a subset. It's a lot like aging in place. So if you can't find a CAP certified person, find somebody that specializes in universal design, because that's very similar. But it's a little different. It's not as specific to certain needs, but it is similar enough that they will also design in that same direction.
Well, what you're doing is great. It's helping keep us safe, and I say us, I put myself in that category. So tell people, if they wanted to get in touch with you or learn more about your organization, how would they do that?
Well, the name of my company is Graf Developments, and that's Graf as in Frank, one F. People like to put two on there for some reason, but it's only one. Graf Developments with an S.com. That's my website. You can just shoot me an email at Bruce@Graf Developments, or go to my website and there's a contact tab there. You can click on it and it comes straight to me. Or if you needed to call me, you could call me anytime. My phone number, area code 972-571-6076. I'm available for available for consultation. I do speaking engagements if people need me to stand in front of their group and discuss this. I've done that numerous times, and I can help anybody out if they have special requests. So, I'm easy to find. Honestly, I am on all avenues of social media. I'm on Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, just about anything you can think of, I'm there. Good.
Bruce Graf with Graf Developments, Graf Developments.com. Check it out. Great information, Bruce. Thanks so much for joining us. As things develop even further as time goes, we'd love to have you back.
Absolutely. I would love to be back.
Yeah, keep us informed. So thank you so much for joining us. I want to thank everybody out there for joining us on the Aging Boomers. Just be safe out there, and we'll talk to y'all soon.